All right, good deal. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for today's a month of service presentation of our Money, Health, and Wealth Financial Capability Series. And today we're here to talk about savings, establishing a rainy day fund. My name is Nia Murray. I am the programs coordinator with Neighborhood Recovery Community Development Corporation, and we are one of the partners in the A Month of Service collaboration. Also included is the City of Houston's Department of Neighborhoods, the Earl Carl Institute, Texas Legal Services Center, Lone Star Legal Aid, Houston Volunteer Lawyers, Harris Central Appraisal District, and the Harris County Tax Assessor Collector's Office. And together we make up a month of service. However, today our presentation is being sponsored by Family Houston. And joining us to present today, we have Ms. Monet Cheney, a financial stability coach, who's going to be providing you the information today about savings and establishing a rainy day fund. But just to give you a quick little background about a month of service is the collaboration of all of our organizations coming together on a monthly basis, offering a variety of different workshops and resources and information to the community relative to asset building, asset protection, the maintaining of generational wealth, and community empowerment. And several years ago, we decided to collaborate and come together and pool a lot of our initiatives so that we can try to create a larger impact and get as much information out to the community as we possibly can. Um, on behalf of Neighborhood Recovery today, we have Family Houston here who's going to be facilitating and giving us the information as part of our financial capability series. Our series also includes topics as many topics as it relates to debt management, savings, credit, making large purchases, your relationship with money, your mental health, and how mental health impacts your finances, and a gambit of other things that are included in our series. So we do invite you to come back and join us the first Wednesday of each month for a live presentation on one of those varying topics. So we want to welcome everybody for joining us today. This is your opportunity to ask questions. Do know that we record our session as well as post on broadcast live on our social media platform. So if you're joining us from our YouTube channel or on Facebook, then we do encourage you to put your questions into the chat or in the comment section, and I'll make sure that your question gets read aloud at the end of the presentation as well. So, but otherwise, you do have the opportunity to contact Family Houston to arrange for a more personal or a more detailed one-on-one financial coaching session. Um, and Ms. Monet is going to go into a little bit more detail towards the latter part of the presentation to give you more information about the services that are available at Family Houston. So again, we want to welcome you for joining us and hope that you all receive the information that you intended to receive here today. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with Ms. Monet Cheney with Family Houston. You're
Hi, good
muted.
afternoon. My name is Monet Cheney, and I am a senior financial stability coach with Family Houston. And we here at Family Houston, we do offer free financial and career coaching services to the Houston community. And I will go into a little bit more details on how what financial and employment coaching is and how you can sign up. This month, we are covering rainy day saving, establishing your emergency fund. So we are going to focus on the importance of an emergency fund, strategies to build your emergency fund, and how much to save in an emergency fund, identifying financial products to maximize savings and to build credit, and how to replenish and maintain your emergency fund. So first, I want to start off with just a quick statement because life is full of unexpected events that can disrupt our finances. So having an emergency fund can help us weather financial storms without going into debt. And so what we want to do is think about what can we do today that our future self would thank us for later. So having an emergency fund just means that in the future, if there is an emergency, then you already have funds available of to take care of that emergency, and you don't have to worry about borrowing money or asking friends and family to help. So what are some things that you can do today to start saving for future emergencies? So the importance of having an emergency fund. So again, unexpected expenses, job loss, or medical emergencies can quickly drain our savings. A healthy emergency fund can provide a financial safety net, reducing stress and giving us time to recover when there is an emergency. So here are some 4 reasons why an emergency fund is important. So number one is financial stability. A strong emergency fund provides a safety net during unexpected financial hardships, keeping our finances stable and reducing stress. So again, when we do have savings, whether it's an emergency fund, retirement, saving for your children's education, it does allow you to have a sense of financial stability because, again, if there is a job loss, if there is an emergency or something expected comes up, then you already have the funds to cover that situation. And of course, it reduces stress because you don't have to stress over how you're going to pay for that emergency. Number two is debt avoidance. So an emergency fund helps us avoid going into debt by providing resources needed to handle unexpected expenses without borrowing. So instead of using a credit card or applying for a loan, sometimes people might have to apply for predatory type lending to cover emergencies. So instead of having to borrow from anyone else, you're borrowing from yourself. And that means that there's no interest rates. There's no need for getting caught up in like a payday loan, which have extremely high interest rates. There's no need to seek help from like friends and family and have to pay back friends and family because you have a fund of money that you can borrow from yourself. And then again, with when it comes to debt avoidance, it also reduces your debt to income ratio. It reduces those monthly expenses because now you don't have to pay back someone, and so that means you don't have that added expense to your budget, as well as it can prevent there being any negative information added to your credit report. Third is peace of mind. So knowing we have financial resources to handle to handle unexpected challenges provides peace of mind, allowing us to focus on what matters most. So when we have that sense of financial stability, when we have financial resources available to us, then that means that we can focus on other things that we would like to focus on. Whatever it is that you enjoy in life, you can focus on your family. You don't have, you're not stressing over covering expenses, or if there is an emergency, again, you don't have to stress over the emergency. You can take care of the emergency and then move on to the things that you want to focus on. You might have financial goals that you're working towards. So this is one less thing that you have to focus on, and you can stay focused on the things that are important. Number 4 is improved credit score. Avoiding debt by using our emergency funds help us maintain a good credit score, making it easier to access loans and credit when needed. So, of course, it's going to improve your credit when you're not borrowing a lot of debt. Because again, if you're borrowing debt, and say for instance you can't afford to make those monthly payments, then of course that would have a negative effect on your credit score. Or if you're using credit cards to cover an emergency, then that means there can be an increase in credit usage, which can also affect your credit score. So when you don't have to use debt as often, then that means that you're going to maintain a good credit history and good credit score. It does mean you're going to have a lower debt to income ratio. You're going to have lower monthly debt payments as well. You're going to have a lower credit card usage percentage. So all of those things is going to allow for you to have an improved credit score. So how much do we save in an emergency fund? So most experts, they do recommend aiming for 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses in an emergency fund, but the specific amount will depend on your individual circumstances and risk tolerance. So one thing, if you want to understand exactly how much you should save for your emergency fund, a good thing is to start with understanding your monthly income and spending. And when you look at your average reoccurring monthly spending, you want to look at the things that are essential, not your wants. So this is going to be housing, of course, so rent, mortgage, your critical utilities, food. If you need a vehicle, just say for instance, you usually 3 to 6 months of essential living, really more so deal with a loss of income. So when you're thinking about a loss of income, you might have to be able to find work again. So of course, again, you're going to need those essential utilities. So you're going to need your internet, you're going to need your cell phone to be able to find employment. If you have a vehicle, you're definitely going to need your vehicle to be able to, again, find employment, go to job interviews, as well as go to job fairs and things, and go to a new job when you get hired. So looking at what are essential expenses that you need, and then start eliminating things that are not essential. So non-essential things would be eating out at restaurants, entertainment, monthly subscriptions. Um, Also, it could be like a gym membership. So things that are not essential, things that you can go without until you're back into a place where you're earning income again, and you're back to being financially stable. So when you're looking at some other factors when determining how much to put in your emergency fund, you're going to look at job security. So do you work in an industry where there's layoffs that's reoccurring? So like every so many years, or during certain periods of time, there's like layoffs. So what does your job security look like? Do you have dependents, and how many dependents do you have? And this is going to be all individuals that depend on your income. So it might not just be your children. It can be a parent or a grandparent. It can be a spouse. So who are the individuals that depend on your income? Health conditions. Do you have medical costs that are critical for you to maintain? So they're like monthly prescriptions you have to maintain. Are there doctor visits that you have to maintain? So what are your are there some health conditions that you have to maintain, and then debt levels? So what are your debt amounts? So just understanding what's your total amount of debt, and then compare that to your total asset to see where your net worth is. So what are your debt levels? And then a general guideline is again 3 to 6 months of expenses for stable employment. So if you work in an industry that's pretty stable, then you're going to be looking at 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses. If your employment is less secure, so again, there might be cycles of layoffs and rehiring, then you might want to look at 6 to 12 months of expenses for less secure employment. And then consider higher amounts for higher debt levels and health concerns. So again, you're going to base an emergency fund based on your individual circumstances and again your risk tolerance. So what is your risk of having to use your emergency fund? And then also keep in mind, this is not something that you have to save up for overnight. So once you figure out what your goal emergency fund amount is, then give yourself a savings goal or a financial goal to save up to that amount. And then make sure like you give yourself a certain amount of time to be able to save up to that amount. It's not something that you have to like strive to make sure that you put that money into savings sooner than later. So, along with our larger emergency fund, so the larger emergency fund that when we're thinking 3 to 6 months, or again, if you have to do 6 to 12 months, that emergency fund is for if there is a job loss or a loss of income, because you want to make sure that you will be able to continue to sustain your essential expenses until you find new employment or increase your income again. But we also should have a small savings as well. So a smaller emergency fund is somewhere between 1,000 to 2,500 to cover small emergencies. So usually your small emergencies is going to be things such as a car repair. If you got into a car accident, you have to pay the deductible for your insurance, a medical emergency where you might have to pay for a doctor visit or a hospital stay. Excellent. It could be if you own a home, it can be maybe there's maybe the AC go out in your home, or there's a plumbing issue, or you have to use your homeowner's insurance because there is a natural disaster. So usually with this smaller emergency funds is going to cover those small emergencies and not necessarily a job loss. Also, you want to make sure that you're replenishing your funds to keep a set amount for future emergencies. So, and we're going to talk about how to maintain your emergency savings. But you always want to make sure if you use your emergency fund that you are replenishing that fund. So whatever amount that you use or borrowed from your emergency fund, that you want to put that same amount back and possibly add more if you want to increase that savings account. So here are some strategies to help you build your emergency fund. So saving for an emergency fund requires consistent effort and prioritizing savings, even when finances are tight. It's crucial to find a balance between savings and meeting basic needs. So when I say this, this is meaning finding just a little bit of money to put into saving, even if it's $5, just to kind of get you into the habit of consistently saving money and putting money away into your emergency fund. Again, the goal is not that you have to immediately have your set emergency fund amount right away. You can set a financial goal to say, like, by this date, I want to have this amount of money in my emergency fund. So you don't have to try to put money in there right away. So when it comes to building that emergency fund, set a goal, determine how much you want to save, and set a realistic timeline to achieve it. Utilize your budget to set an amount. So again, assess your current income and spending to see how much you can allocate to put towards your savings goal for your emergency fund. Second, we want to automate our savings. So set up an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account on a regular basis. Direct deposit from your employer is ideal. So when you're automating your savings transfers, you want to make sure that that money, as soon as it hits your checking account, you want to make sure that it's being transferred into your emergency fund before you start spending it on other things. So a lot of people, they put money in savings after they have paid all their bills or after they've done all their spending for the month. And so what they put into savings is based on what's left. But it should be flipped. So you should be putting away savings first, and then all of your other expenses come after you have put your savings amount away. So that's where these auto transfers come in, because if you're doing direct deposit from your employer, then that means that money is already out of sight, out of mind in your savings. And then whatever is deposited in your checking account is what you have to spend on all of your other expenses. If your employer don't allow for multiple direct deposits into different accounts, then you want to make sure you set that savings transfer from your checking account as soon as you get paid. Even if you're manually transferring, just make sure that you do it as soon as your paycheck hits your account, so that money is already out of sight, out of mind before you can spend it on other things. Number three, we want to look at reducing expenses. So identify areas where you can cut back on spending and allocate those savings into your emergency fund. So anytime you make the choice to cut back on your expenses, or if there's some unnecessary spending, such as shopping, eating out, or you pay a debt off, anytime there's you reduce an expense and you want to put that into savings, make sure you put that money away into savings right away. So for instance, if you're spending, if the last month you spent $400 eating out, and the new month you want to spend only $300 eating out, that $100 you want to transfer that to your savings account before you start spending on eating out, because once that money is already gone to savings, then you won't accidentally spend that $100 again. Also, you want to make sure that if you're cutting back $100 on eating out, you don't put that $100 into another expense. So send it to savings right away. Or if you make the choice, you say, hey, I'm going to not stop at Starbucks every morning for a $6 coffee. Whatever that amount is for the week that it costs you in Starbucks coffee, you want to add that up and you want to put that into your savings account right away. So then that because you might cut back Starbucks, but then you might spend that money elsewhere. So just make sure that that expense turns into your savings and not into another unnecessary expense. Lastly, we want to increase income. So if you don't have the ability to reduce expenses, um, then increase in income might be the strategy that you have to make. So consider taking a side hustle or finding ways to increase your income to accelerate your saving process, and then save any extra income that you receive. So when it comes to increase in income, it could be some side, like maybe there's a side hustle, or maybe you want to get a second job, or if it's something that you're good at doing, you might want to start like a small business, or you might sell items. Like if it's something that you're good at making, then you might want to sell that. And again, it might generate a a business opportunity for you, as well as it's going to generate another flow of income into your household, and then that income can go into savings. So then you can make a choice that I want all of the income that's coming from this second job, or coming from this side hustle, or coming from this new small business I've created. I want all of this income to go into my savings. Sometime throughout the year, we get extra income. So there's tax returns. Maybe you get money for your birthday or for the holidays from friends and family. Um, Maybe your job have a commission pay that you get every quarter, or once a year you get a bonus. So anytime you generate that extra income and you don't need it towards essential living expenses, then you can put that extra income into your savings account. Again, also, if you pay off a debt, that's new income. That means your income have increased in your budget. Take that debt payment instead of taking that debt. If you don't have another debt to apply it to, take that debt payment and put it into your savings. So here are some places some places where you can keep your emergency fund. So we definitely want to choose a safe and accessible account for your emergency fund. And then you want to make sure that this emergency fund is liquid, readily available, and protected from market fluctuations. So here are three options that you can consider. First, there's a high yield savings account. These accounts offer higher interest rates than traditional savings accounts, allowing your emergency fund to grow faster over time. So there are tons of banks that have high yield savings accounts. A good place to compare different banks to find what works best for you is NerdWallet or Bankrate. Those websites, you can type in high yield savings and then they'll give you a list. One thing you want to look for is a savings account that has 0 monthly fees. You also want to find one that don't have a minimal balance requirement. Um, and again, you want it to be accessible in the case of emergency, but you also want to make sure that it's not extremely convenient. So you want to make sure that um, it's not convenient enough to where you can pinch off of it from month to month. So you definitely don't want to have your checking and savings emergency fund at the same bank. You want to make sure that your emergency fund is at a different bank. Again, you still want that to be liquid funds where you can take it out. So you don't want it to be in investment type of account where it's not easily accessible or it's not liquid. You want to make sure that it is a savings account that you can still access in a case of emergency, but it's harder for you to pinch off of. You don't want to be able to get those funds immediately and transferring funds back and forth between your checking and savings. We also have IDA match savings accounts. I'm actually the Alliance, these accounts are not available anymore. So I'm gonna take the Alliance off because those accounts are not available anymore. But if you are saving to purchase a home, Covenant Community Capital, they do have a home buyer IDA account. So basically, the money that you put into that savings account is matched up to $2,000. So that is a way, if you're looking to purchase a home, then that's a way for you to maximize your savings if you qualify for that account. And then also there's savings accounts where you can build credit at the same time. So they're basically loan payments that are secured in a CD account. There is no access to funds until the end of payment terms, so usually 12 to 24 months. And then you have different payment amounts starting at $25 a month. And then payment history reported, your payment history is reported to all 3 credit bureaus. So this savings account is through Self Inc. So with Self Inc., you're making your payments, it's going into a savings account, and then you have access to those funds in 12 to 24 months. So this is more so like if you're a long-term savings that you're saving up for the future because you don't have access to these funds. Like if there is an emergency, you can't go in and take the funds out, but it's still a great way to get started with savings, as well as if you're working on building your credit or rebuilding your credit score, then your payment history with this savings account does go towards the 3 credit bureaus. So I want to talk about replenishing your emergency funds. So after using funds from your emergency fund, it's crucial to replenish it as soon as possible to maintain its effectiveness. So think of your emergency fund the same as you would use a revolving type of credit. So think of your emergency fund as a line of credit, but you are the bank. And when you take money out of your emergency fund, you're borrowing from yourself versus you're borrowing from Capital One or Wells Fargo or Chase. You're borrowing from yourself. And so you want to make sure that you're making regular contributions. So set aside a specific amount from each paycheck to gradually rebuild your emergency fund. So honestly, I would say you should have a minimal goal amount. So what your minimal emergency fund amount is, but continue to make contributions to that account. You don't have to necessarily stop when you reach that goal amount. You can continue to maintain those transfers into that emergency fund so it can continue to grow. Because again, life circumstances changes. Your family might grow, so that means you have more dependents. We have to factor in inflation and the cost of things going up, just the cost of like medical care, the cost of like even with insurance, you might adjust your deductible to a higher deductible to save monthly. So that means you're going to need extra money in your emergency funds to be able to cover that deductible. Also, even owning a house, just the cost of maintaining a house can increase. So continue to add to your emergency fund even when you reach that goal amount. Because also what that does, it keeps that habit going. Cause you already established that habit, so you want to maintain that habit. So then if you do borrow from your emergency fund, that that automatic payment that you already set up is just going to go to replenishing, and then you can add additional money to your emergency fund to replenish it as well. Make budget adjustments. Again, review your budget, identify where you can cut back on spending to allocate more funds to your emergency savings. Because again, inflation, the cost of things go up, and there might be changes to your situation. Maybe you have new dependents now. So, or if you're saving 3 to 6 months of essential, then as the cost of rent and things go up, then you might want to increase that based on what your current essential needs cost. And then again, keep adding additional income. Consider taking on a side hustle or finding other ways to generate additional income to accelerate replenishing the process. So if you did have to borrow and you wanted to replenish the amount that you borrowed a lot faster, then consider finding ways to generate additional income at that time. Or again, if you get bonuses throughout the year or once a year, or you get a refund from taxes, money for like birthdays or holidays, then you can use that additional income to put into your savings. So like I said before, think of your emergency fund the same way as you would think of a line of credit, except you are the bank. So instead of the bank being Wells Fargo, Chase, or Bank of America, you are your bank. You are the bank. And so whenever you use funds for your emergency, you want to pay yourself back. If you want to increase that savings, then you can pay yourself interest. So you can say, I borrowed $300 from myself, and I'm going to pay myself 300 plus 10% interest. So um, you can make that choice, or you can just pay back the $300. When you are borrowing from a bank, or you're using a credit card, then you don't have a choice in deciding how much you pay back. You got to pay back whatever they tell you you have to pay back, whatever their interest rates are. So it might take you longer to pay what you borrowed back, versus if you have an emergency fund, then you can pay yourself back quicker, and you're earning interest on your own savings account. So if you have an emergency credit card, the funds that's on that credit card, you're not earning interest on that credit card. Because I've heard people say, well, I have an emergency credit card. If you have an emergency credit card, or you have an emergency line of credit, you're not earning interest on that credit line. But when you use that emergency credit card, or you use the emergency line of credit, you're paying interest. So that's why it's better to have an emergency savings, because again, that emergency savings, that's your own personal bank of money. And instead of you only having to pay interest, you're earning interest on that savings account, which is going to increase the amount of funds that's in your emergency. So it's easier if there's like life changes, inflation, because you're earning interest, then you're going to have additional funds. Those funds are working and earning money for you, versus you having to pay back what you borrow plus interest to the bank. So we also want to maintain our emergency funds I spoke earlier about you want to make sure that you're not able to pinch off of your emergency savings. You want to make sure that that fund of money is being maintained. So maintaining a healthy emergency fund is an ongoing effort that requires regular monitoring and adjustments based on changes in circumstances and financial goals. So one, we want to review regularly. So assess your emergency fund balance and adjust your contributions amounts as needed based on your income and expenses. So if you are tracking your income and expenses on a regular basis, then you'll know like how much you need to adjust that your emergency fund based on what your current essential expenses cost. Um, we talked about inflation earlier, so adjust for inflation. Consider increasing your contributions to account for inflation, ensuring your emergency fund remains sufficient over time. And then again, if there is an increase in income, so maybe you get a new job, you're earning more money, you get a raise at work. Um, Make sure that you're adjusting your savings amount based on that your raise at your company or if you get a new job, because again, that's going to make sure that you're accounting for inflation, as well as sometimes with a higher income might come a little bit of higher expenses. So just make sure that you're adjusting your amount whenever you're earning at higher income. Protect against market fluctuations. So choose a conservative investment strategy to protect your emergency fund from significant losses due to market validity. So you just want to make sure that your emergency fund is in an account where it's stable, and you're not losing money. So consider like I wouldn't have your emergency fund in like an investment or stock market type of account that can put you at risk of losing money. So just make sure that it's in just a regular high yield savings account, because that means that you're only going to be earning, you won't be losing money. And then consider your long-term goals. While your emergency fund is for short-term needs, consider its role in achieving long-term goals such as retirement and home ownership. So your emergency fund can create an emergency fund can be a good way to get into the habit and consistency of putting money away from savings. So now that you establish a good saving strategy, then that can lead towards saving up for other long-term saving goals such as retirement or down payment on a home, um, or any other big purchases. You want to make sure that once you create those good saving habits, then that can lead towards other savings that you establish. So before we end today, I do want to talk about Family Houston and the financial stability services that we offer. So we do offer free financial coaching starting at age 14 and up. So 14 to 24, the free financial stability coaching is under our Youth on the Move program. And with the Youth on the Move program, we offered a free one-on-one coaching to discuss financial literacy, career development, as well as entrepreneurship. And we also host monthly workshops for the teens and young adults to learn more about things like establishing savings and building those saving habits, as well as learning how to manage money and create career paths and get their first job, resume writing, etc. And then we also have the free financial and career coaching for for our adult clients that are 25 and up. And with this coaching, we can help with money management skills, help you reach your savings goal. We also help with credit. So if you're looking to repair your credit, improve your credit score, pay off debts. If you're interested in purchasing a home one day or a car, then we can help you with those credit strategies and solutions. Also, we can help with your career goals. So, like before, we talked about getting a second job or maybe getting a higher paying job. So, if you feel that you need to increase your income, then we can also help you with your resume and cover letter. We can help you with job search skills, prepare for job interviews as well. And if you're interested in our services, you can reach me at my cell 832-987-2023. As well as my email, which is mchaney@familyhouston.org. So that's M as in Mary, CHENEY @familyhouston.org. And that's all I have, unless,
I'm sorry. I was trying to check
okay,
the other page here to see if there were any other
okay,
questions. I don't see that there are any.
okay.
Give the examples of the those websites that help with the spreadsheets and things, like to create savings plans and budgets and things. Did you go over
Oh,
those?
the
Their
Vertex.
text, yeah.
Yeah, Vertex 42 is vertex42.com is a website that you can go to. There's several financial spreadsheets that you can download for either Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel. There might, I'm pretty sure there are some savings trackers on there that you can utilize, as well as Nia, I can send you the tracker. So if anyone wants to do the 52 weeks of savings, that's another good saving strategy to
Okay.
jumpstart your emergency fund. So if you're not familiar with the 52 weeks of savings challenge, basically each week is a different dollar amount. So week 1 is $1, week 2 is $2, week 3 is $3, on up to 52 weeks. At the end of the year, you should have, I believe, around 1,400 saved. So that is a great strategy to jumpstart your emergency fund or to save up for other like large purchases or things that you're wanting to save up for. Um, so yeah, I can email you. I think I have a spreadsheet for that, or I have a document that you can email out where if you want to track 52 weeks of savings goal. Um, and then also vertex42.com, they have different budget spreadsheets that you can use based on what works best for you. That way that you can be tracking your income, tracking your spending. You can also track your savings balances, because I think it's good to see all of your finances once a month. So not just looking at your monthly budget, but also looking at your debt balances, how much did you pay towards your debts, as well as how your saving balances, how much did you put into savings that month. Because not only does it make you knowledgeable about your financial well-being, it also motivates you to do more. So it keeps you motivated on paying down your debts. It keeps you motivated on increasing your savings. And again, it makes sure that you are in the know of what your current financial situation is, what your current financial wellness is, because it also helps you be able to make financial decisions for yourself in the future.
Yeah, that's what I was just searching their website. So I found a link to a couple of the savings goal tracker pages. So I'll include that on the email. So for those folks that have registered to participate or for this presentation, I will send out the link for the recording so that you can go back and review all the information that Monet has discussed with you guys, as well as the links to a couple of these different pages that you can go to download, like these savings trackers and budget plans and things like that. The only other thing that I also wanted to add when it comes to like savings, whether it's an emergency fund or just savings altogether, is to just kind of try to allow yourself to have a little bit of grace and don't you may initially start out really gung ho, but don't lose that motivation to continue to keep savings, whether something kind of happens or you kind of fall off a little bit, whether you decide, I know I'm going to save $50 every paycheck or $100 every paycheck. Well, if you don't save 50, save 20 or save 15, save whatever it is, but still just kind of keep yourself in the habit of keep doing the same thing. It may not be that same amount, but at least you're doing something to get to stay into that habit. So just allow yourself a little bit of grace when it comes to whether it's savings or budgeting or whatever it is, and don't be so hard on yourself because we tend to do that. Like, I don't know why I tried to save. I knew I wasn't gonna be able to do it. So what's the point? Kind of, we tend to kind of get down on ourselves and not allow ourselves to not to kind of waver from the plan a little bit, I would say. But so don't give up on your savings goal or whatever it is, or even if it takes you getting a motivation partner or somebody like a financial coach that will be a good motivator for you to kind of keep going and kind of keep you accountable for, hey, how's it going on this savings plan? Okay, you're doing good. You're doing great. Keep up the good work. Sometimes you need that little extra pep or somebody
Do a challenge with your friends or with a
yeah,
family
something,
member, a
something.
family member or somebody you trust being in your business.
Yeah, yeah. Or
'Cause
or or a competition. Hey, I bet I can save $100 before you can save $100. Something, whatever by the end of the year or whatever. You know what I mean? Just whatever it's gonna take to get you towards that goal. Um, Make it interesting. Don't put so much pressure on yourself to do it, but make it a little bit interesting, whatever it takes. So that's all I wanted to say.
Oh yeah, I mean it's important to have that excitement of, oh, I'm paying myself before
Yes.
I before I go pay Starbucks or before I go pay whatever this clothing store or these
And
restaurants. I'm
mhm,
paying myself first. And don't make your savings feel like a burden either. Because I think
mhm,
some people they feel like, oh, well, I gotta save, so that means I can't do anything fun, or I gotta sacrifice fun to save. So then it's like you start to think of it as a saving, me as a burden,
mhm,
and and it means that, oh, I can't do nothing else.
mhm.
Then it's almost like what's going to end up happening, you're going to start making it a choice. So you're going to be like, okay, well, I'm
Either
gonna
I'm gonna do
choose
this
say,
or I'm gonna do
am I
this.
gonna go, am I gonna save, or am I gonna buy this new dress, or am I
Yeah.
gonna go to this concert or something like that? So just make sure that the savings is the priority, and again, your future self is the priority. Um, and a lot of times when it comes to concert, they announce those concerts months in advance. So you might have time to save up for that and put money into your emergency fund.
Those
So,
concert tickets are many car notes and mortgage payments. That some of these concert tickets, I'm not even gonna get on that subject. That's just ridiculous. I
or
would
shop
say
your closet before you go buy new clothes. and
Whatever it
taking
takes,
money from
whatever
your
it takes,
savings for new clothes. Shop your
whatever
closet
it takes.
first because you might have something in there that you haven't worn in years and it's still in style. So you could just wear that, or you might have something with tags on it that you bought 2 or 3 years ago. Again, it's still in style, but it
Mhm.
got lost in your closet. So sometimes think of alternatives before you pull from your savings to cover for like new things or unnecessary spending, because you definitely don't want your emergency fund. You don't want the emergency to be shoes or clothes, somebody's birthday dinner or something like that.
And
Um,
then I also wanted to remind everybody that we also have our 30-day bag. So if they're trying to figure out how exactly could they save or where is it that they could save. So our 30-day bags
mhm.
are basically our branded bags that basically help you with your savings and budgeting. So basically for the 30 days you put all of your receipts for everything that you buy, every bill that you pay, every snack that you purchase into a Ziploc bag. And at the end of the 30 days to take everything out of that bag and add it all up and see what exactly is it you're spending. Where is your money going? Because sometimes it's so easy for us to just swipe the card or do the
Mhm.
not the what do you call that thing? The Google Pay and the Apple Pay, just kind of doing it with your phone, and you don't really pay
Yeah.
attention as to where that money is actually going or how much you're actually spending. But if you actually at the end of the day, I mean, at the end of the 30 days, you can actually pull it out, see like, man, I'm really spending that much on Starbucks, or man, I'm really spending that much, on eating out or whatever, and then you can kind of figure out, okay, well, I can cut back a little bit here and save a little bit there. I can, the money that I would spend on lunch could be the money that I put in savings that day, or something to that effect. So again, like you were just saying, you don't have to deprive yourself of anything when you're kind of looking at it. And don't put that pressure on yourself to just save, or make it look as seem as it's like a chore or some kind of a punishment. But you know, it should be looked at as a bill that you do pay yourself first. But every time you look at your statement and you think, man, I got all this saved up over here just this little bit of time. I wonder if I doubled it, or I wonder if I increased it by whatever, what that could potentially look like for you. So that's just something to kind of keep in mind. But with that being said, Ms. Monet, thank you very much this afternoon
Welcome.
for and always the partnership that we have had with Family Houston over the last several years. We wholeheartedly appreciate you guys and thank you very much for you guys partnering with us to do these monthly workshops with us. So next month, we are here the first Wednesday of each month at 4 p.m. With a different topic. So with it's already October, and I know you guys have seen some things in the stores already for the holidays and things like that. So
Mhm.
next month we've got holiday spending, and how not to break the bank, um, for the holidays. So definitely want to join us next month for that presentation. So don't have my calendar to see what the first Wednesday. That date is November the 5th. We'll be back November the 5th for holiday spending and how to
Yes.
plan your holiday purchases without breaking your bank. So we invite you to come back and attend that with us. Also, after that presentation, we are also going to be looking at our schedule for 2026 and the topics and kind of reevaluating and to see which other topics that we currently offering, what's working, what's not working. So if there are any presentations that we do not currently offer as it relates to the finances, then please reach out to us and let us know if there's some other topic that you'd like for us to touch base on. We do appreciate and value your feedback and your input as we plan for upcoming sessions. So again, thank you, Miss Monet. I will relinquish all of your time back to you. So we got done a little bit earlier than what we expected, but that's okay. So again, thank you very much. We hope you join us again next time. You take care of yourself and you stay safe, Miss Monet, and we will see y'all
You
next time.
too. All right,
Thank
bye,
you.
everyone.